Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our review of the Roborock Q10 S5 Plus. It's Roborock's least expensive robot vacuum mop combo with an auto-empty bin, and after buying one for ourselves and putting it through all kinds of tests over the last few weeks, I found that in some ways it absolutely stunned us, getting the highest scores in some metrics than any robot of any price, with features that are rarely if ever seen in this price range. But in other areas, it wasn't very good. In addition, I have some concerns about quality control issues based on early reviews, which I'll talk about later. But at least for now, the Roborock Q10 S5 Plus is the highest ranking robot vacuum in its price range on the Vacuum Wars Top 20 Robot Vacuum list on our website, and by a good margin. So in this video, I'll go over the pros and cons and mention some of my concerns. So links in the description, and let's get started. First, the basics. The Roborock Q10 S5 Plus is a LiDAR navigation smart robot vacuum mop combo with an auto-empty station and obstacle avoidance sensors up front. It comes in a black or white version. Its list price is about $550, but it often sells for significantly less than that. For example, as of writing this, it's selling for $379, which is one of the cheapest prices I've seen for a robot with these particular features. Starting off with the pros, this thing has a ton of power. We tested its suction on max power, and it measured way above the average amount. In fact, it was the fourth highest suction number we've ever measured on a robot vacuum out of well over 150 that we've tested in this way. And it appears that this large amount of suction made a meaningful impact in its performance, which is not always the case. For example, in our carpet deep clean test, where we see how much embedded sand it can pick up from carpet, it got a 96%, which is tied for the highest score we've seen on this test. Its amazing carpet performance was also noted in our 2.5-inch flattened pet hair pickup test, where it also got a 96%, well above the average score of 81%. So if carpet performance is important to you, this is one of the best robot vacuums we've seen. It uses a standard nothing special main brush and a fixed side brush to sweep up debris, and it did good with surface debris pickup on both hard floors and carpets in the various pickup tests that we did. The main brush does have an active hair wrap removal system, which is basically little combs that remove hair as it vacuums, and in our 7-inch hair tangle test, it successfully removed 100% of the hair, where the average robot gets about 38% of the hair tangled in its brush. So as far as basic vacuuming performance on hard floors and carpets, it's kind of hard to beat the Q10 S5 scores. Another pro is its auto-empty bin, which is a new and smaller design for Roborock. Basically, when the robot returns to its base, it empties the contents of its 350 milliliter internal dust bin into the base, which has a 2.7 liter disposable bag that Roborock says will last 7 weeks before needing to be replaced. It should be noted that this auto-empty bin does not wash or dry the robot's mop pads or refill the water tank like the higher-end Roborocks do, so that is one area that you are sacrificing for the lower price. And that brings us to another big pro, which is its mopping ability. The Roborock Q10 S5 Plus uses a single mop pad that vibrates to help loosen stuck-on stains, which Roborock calls Vibrarise 2.0, and the robot will automatically sense carpets and rugs, and it will lift up the mop pad 8 millimeters to avoid getting carpets wet, which allows users with a mixture of hard floors and carpets in their home to vacuum and mop their floor plan in one run instead of 2 separate runs. And I should say that having a liftable mop pad system on a robot in this price range is a somewhat new thing and worthy of noting. In terms of mopping performance, in our dried-on stain mop test, it did pretty good, just over the average amount, but that mopping score was impressive because it did this while using about half as much water than average, which reduces streak potential. Another pro was its navigation and battery life. The Q10 S5 Plus uses a top-mounted LiDAR sensor to map and navigate around, which is my current preferred method of navigation, and it was relatively efficient, getting a slightly higher than average score with speed and coverage. And its battery life was pretty good too. We test battery performance on all of its power settings on a fixed floor plan and found it to be slightly above average again with battery efficiency, all of which meant that its estimated square feet per charge amount was 1,243 square feet, which is well above the average amount of 1,015. And it does have recharge and resume for larger floor plans as well. The final pro I'll mention is the app. It's got all the basic stuff you would want: real-time monitoring, virtual barriers, multi-floor mapping. You can control the bin and water levels. It has all kinds of advanced scheduling options, room-by-room customization options. Roborock has maintained a pretty high score for their apps on the app stores over the years, and while this version is a bit limited compared to higher-end models, it's still pretty decent. Moving on to the cons, and let's start with its obstacle avoidance. On the one hand, it's a pro that a robot vacuum in this price range has obstacle avoidance. On the other hand, it's the very cheapest version of obstacle avoidance with just structured light, no additional lasers or camera or anything, so it is pretty ineffective. And in our obstacle avoidance tests, it got one of the worst scores on record, 6 out of 24, where the average is 16.6. So it's technically better than not having obstacle avoidance, as most robots in this price range, but just barely. And you should probably expect to be picking up household objects from the floor that it might get stuck on before a run for best results. The other con is related to our now more thorough scanning of online customer reviews like from Amazon or Reddit, and there seems to be a fairly high number of what I would call quality control issues with this model, meaning customers are more than average reporting that this robot stopped working after a few days or weeks. Not everyone, of course, but enough for me to be wary about declaring the Roborock Q10 S5 Plus our new favorite budget robot vacuum. By the numbers, it's definitely the best robot we've seen with these features in this price range. In fact, it's currently ranking number 20 on the Vacuum Wars Top 20 Robot Vacuum list, and that's pretty unheard of for this price range. So I feel like I need to wait a bit longer before calling it our new budget pick to make sure the reviews kind of normalize. But if they do, and you're looking for a robot vacuum with basically top-tier vacuuming performance on carpet and hard floors, better than average mopping, and an auto-empty bin, but don't care so much about the ability for it to wash its own mop pads, and you don't care at all about it avoiding household objects with its obstacle avoidance, you really can't do better right now than the Q10 S5 Plus, again assuming the quality control issues normalize. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching. All of the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our current favorite vacuums in multiple categories. You'll also find links to the Vacuum Wars website in the description, where we have more detailed lists of our favorite products, like our new top 20 robot vacuums list, which is updated weekly.